This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
And we're back to Off the Break Podcast. I'm Cody, and with me are Kyle and Eric.
Hello again.
Hello. We were just giggling before we started the podcast because we were talking about all the Kyle memes that Kyle's being sent. Does this look familiar, Kyle?
Is this a new thing? When did the Kyle memes take off? Because I just found out about them like yesterday.
I've noticed them over the last month,
Yeah.
and probably about every other day I've seen one Kyle meme, and I'm being like tagged in it, or people just send it to me personally.
So for people who don't know, the Kyle meme is basically a Kyle is somebody who likes to wear backwards baseball caps. Mm-hmm. They're obsessed with Monster.
Energy drinks.
And they like to take out their aggression on drywall by punching holes in drywall.
Which I would like to say I am the outlier. I am not that type of Kyle, but I cannot deny that is.
Have you ever worn a backwards
accurate
baseball cap?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Can we call it a Dick Kyle? Like, you're not Dick Kyle. You're like Nice Kyle.
Yeah, I like being called Nice Kyle. Yeah,
Okay,
that'll
Nice
work
Kyle.
with me.
Have you ever flicked drywall?
Flicked
Flicked
drywall?
it?
No,
Yeah.
Like, flicked your finger on it?
I've bumped-
I've bumped testing the
drywall by
waters,
accident.
see if it's like just feels right.
No, I've bumped drywall by accident and then apologized to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're not there yet, but we'll keep our eye on you.
No,
Right.
if I have a sip of Monster Energy drink, which, by the way, this video is sponsored by. No, it's not.
No.
Or a video
I can't have just one.
Kyle, you can never.
But yeah, no, it's.
I
Just one
personally
drink.
like cranberry Red Bull. That's my go-to energy drink.
I've never had the flavored Red Bulls. Normal Red Bull, just I don't know. Maybe it's the smell. It's so different from like Monster. I've never had Rockstar either. I've never really had any of them other than
I
Monster
like
and Red Bull.
Rockstar. I don't like Monsters.
The one time I tried a energy drink was right. But do you remember those running tests you had to do in high school, like the pacer, and you just basically ran until you couldn't run anymore?
Back and forth.
I decided to have a Red Bull drink before that because I was like, I'm feeling a little sluggish. Maybe this will perk me up and I'll run. No, was in pain the entire time. Somehow did all right in it still, but was just in pain the whole time. And it didn't like make me more energized, but it just made me feel sick because I drank it and then like ran immediately after. So like I was just in the classroom after that and I was like, oh, I'm hurting so much. So I never had energy drinks again. I don't drink those type of drinks.
You guys are young and you haven't had children keep you up all night. I discovered after having a baby that the newfound like amazingness of energy drinks and lattes. Like I never liked Starbucks or City Brew or any of those like coffee places. I never had a latte. And then all of a sudden you're like in that zombie new parent stage where you've only like going off like 3 hours of sleep and you have this baby that you don't know what to do with because you're like a deer in headlights.
I love how universal that
that is
parenting phase is.
So universal. I don't care like who you are, what age you
Yeah,
are.
it's-
Everybody goes through the same thing.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
And you
to me.
all discover how wonderful Starbucks is.
kind of beautiful actually.
I remember one time in the Starbucks line, I was like, I just need a latte. Like, I just need the sugar and the cream and all of that.
Put it in my veins.
And the baby was crying in the back, and I'm with my mother, and I'm trying to reach back to comfort the baby. And I think somebody could either see me or hear the baby crying or something in the car in front of me. But I remember they paid for my drink and the car ahead of line, and I just
like that's a new parent.
I
This
like
is the
almost
least I can do.
cried at the window. I was like, that is so generous.
Does the sound of like incessant crying just like become your default background noise?
No,
Like
some people can
like
tune
not tune
that
it out,
Yeah.
but like that's just it's like
no.
that's just
or does
what
it put
I hear.
you on edge? Be like, is that mine? Oh no, it's just someone else's.
I think people have different reactions, obviously, but for me, I could have totally ignored crying babies in the store. Like I didn't hear them. I'd go to Target and just be in my blissful place after having a baby. If I hear a baby cry across the store, I like get tense and perk up. I'm like, I need to hold that baby. I need to comfort that baby. And it's not even my baby anymore.
It's just a baby doing its thing.
Oh, but
Just
I'm
a
like,
baby crying.
I am so conditioned now. It's like I hear a little wah and I'm like, where's that baby? It's terrible.
Just coughs a bit. You're like, what?
Oh, sometimes I have to hold my husband's hand and be like, Ken, there's a crying baby. He's like, it's not our baby. It's mine. And I'm
Remember,
like, no,
it's not ours. They're fine.
I just feel so bad. I just want to comfort that baby. And it's not even a judgmental thing to the parents. It's just
Yeah, no, I get it.
An instinct.
an instinct.
It must suck when like you're at a movie and babies start crying.
If I see a baby at a movie, I just get so
Like,
angry with
refund.
parents.
You gotta back out before anything
I
happens.
don't back out. I just think that's just so incredibly selfish. And
You mean if it's like a PG-13,
Well,
just
just
like a...
our
A
mo-
baby
Yeah.
A baby at
What
a
is a
movie.
baby gonna
Yeah.
get from a movie at the theater?
And they're loud.
After the movie,
I mean,
the
I
baby's
understand
like,
if you
oh,
can't
I
have
see
a-
the complexities that the character was trying to present.
Well, I
They're
understand
like,
that you can't always get a babysitter and stuff like that.
I didn't
go to
so
a
I don't
movie-
want to make a blanket statement,
Right.
but it's like I just think back to Infinity War when I saw
Yeah.
that in theaters. It was like still in the carrying stroller case thing. Like what?
Carrying stroller case thing.
Yeah,
that little basket they're
the
in.
baby purse,
The baby carrier.
the plastic baby purse.
The plastic baby purse.
Yeah,
I
it
love
takes up a
that.
whole seat by itself.
Yeah.
And it's
That
like,
could
no.
have gone to someone important.
Yeah, theater one, we need all the room we can get.
No, I get, there's just young people today want to be out and about, but I didn't go to movies. I didn't go out to dinner for like the first 2.5 years of the boy's life. Like, and then when we finally got my first son to a point where we could go out, then I had my second son, and we just didn't do it.
Whoops.
And if we did, we got a babysitter, and it was very rare. I don't think there's anything wrong with staying home for the first couple years of your
I
child's
feel
life.
like
That's
you
fine.
should do
Yeah.
that. You're never gonna
Yeah.
get those years back.
No, and
Like-
I didn't. Nothing would possess me to take a baby to a movie. Like if I needed,
Yeah,
to
no,
see it,
I see what you're saying. Like,
or take it to a restaurant. Like that's my time to be out and be an adult. I don't need to bring my child to that.
do you remember your first like outing or like dinner treat after like when you could finally do it again?
We kept them really short. Like it would be maybe less than an hour, because, well, when you breastfeed and stuff, you're on a schedule,
Oh,
and
yeah,
you
I
need
bet.
to be with that baby. So
Like, we got to get back. You're gonna be getting
Yeah.
hungry.
yeah, so I just didn't happen very much. But I do remember when my oldest son was 5 months, I did go with my mother-in-law to do a real estate class, because I have my real estate license. I like jack of all trades, and I had to stay in another town for a couple days, and that like killed me.
Oh, I bet.
And my husband is so great. He sent me pictures of my son, but they
Nothing
were
happened.
like the most adorable pictures ever. And I'm like, why am I missing this? It was terrible.
I just meant like your first like meal like out.
No,
like when you could finally get away.
I don't remember like that at all, but I remember like loving drive-throughs. Like I
Oh, I bet.
really used to drive-throughs, finding coffee, and that was like our treat. And that night we would load up the baby and go get coffees at nighttime, like at like
You're gonna
7
need it.
o'clock. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get ready for the evening. This is our evening treat. Go get like
And we're going to stay up for 5
venti-
hours.
venti caramel macchiatos and go back and watch. We watched a lot of movies
Oh, I
and
bet.
tried to sleep and listen to podcasts, and we did lots of
crazy.
stuff. So
universal.
yeah. Anyways, how do we go? Oh, Red Bulls.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah,
got me
I was
through
going
it,
to say,
too.
I love that
Because of the
our
Kyle
energy
memes.
drink
Yeah, the Kyle
Kyle
memes.
talk went to like a deep,
Yeah. Beautiful.
personal
The
story
universal
and
truths of
stories
parenthood.
about
You guys
motherhood.
Don't like vodka Red Bulls? Like that's not
Oh, I do. Well,
Oh, yeah, they're good. They
I
taste
prefer
good.
vodka cranberry, but
vodka cranberry.
yeah.
No, I just don't.
I've had a vodka Red Bull.
I love vodka
I just
Red
have no
Bulls.
need to drink energy drinks.
Slam those
Usually.
babies.
In college, I was like, I had never had a caffeine buzz, but I always knew people talked about like one buzzing. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
So I like purposefully drank like 3 of those giant like twist off monster cans
Ugh, gross.
just to see if I mean I could feel. I'm like, oh, okay.
You're like, I'm feeling the buzz.
I guess, yeah.
True.
I think I just have a really high caffeine tolerance, even though I
Maybe.
never really drank a lot of caffeine. I never drank a lot of soda as a kid.
Same, actually.
Other than like root beer occasionally, but
Yeah.
I don't even think that has caffeine in it.
I don't know.
I don't think it does.
I know mug root beer
really?
doesn't.
Root beer doesn't have.
I don't think it does.
think all root beers do. I don't know. Maybe Barks. Do you remember that Barks has bite?
I'm so curious now.
Is that like an advertisement?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe that one has caffeine.
Kyle's on it.
Kyle's on it.
No, looks like it does not have
There we go.
caffeine.
Probably
Yeah, because I never drank a lot of
sugar.
Coke.
Some do drink caffeine, so it just varies
okay.
on the brand, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Mug doesn't. I don't think A&W does. Those
I'll
are the two
go
I drank the most.
Yeah.
No.
You want me to check? I can
No,
do
we're
this all
good.
day.
So what's
Yeah.
on the menu for today?
Yeah, the people
Okay.
listening are like, I want to know about Men in Black.
Aren't they talking about movies?
So today, we're going to get Kyle's early reaction to Men in Black. He went and saw the early show last night. I really wanted to go see Shaft, but I came down with a really bad headache and couldn't, so I watched Shaft 2000, which it got me in the mood for more Shaft. And
Hey,
then,
I'm
and then
sorry.
we want to talk about the Frozen trailer,
So stupid.
the Dr. Sleep trailer, and then, it looks like Amazon's going to try to do another release of a film similar to how Netflix released Roma.
Gonna pull a Roma on us,
Gonna pull a Roma. Limited theatrical debut and then right to streaming.
2 theaters.
We love that
Probably.
here.
It just needs to be
Yeah.
a single word that summarizes that release strategy.
It's gonna be
Stupid.
released in a
Yeah,
theater.
just like I don't know.
I've been hearing the term theatrical streaming release.
That's boring.
It's boring and
Yeah.
wordy,
It's just like a
but that's
hyphenated
just,
thing.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's hyphenated too. Yeah, fun fact.
How about stab the theaters in the back?
Yeah, it's called Betrayal.
Betrayal.
the betrayal release.
But yeah, so Kyle, let's kick it off. How was
Men in
Men in Black
Black.
International? Kyle
How-
just recently rewatched the third one.
Actually,
So
yeah, I
Men in
watched it a
Black
few
is
days
kind of
ago.
fresh in his mind.
Kind of. I know I really enjoyed the first one, and then the second one I don't think is good at all. But the third one I just remember like seeing at theater was like, hey, those are actually pretty good times. So I wanted to see if that was still the same, and it's not quite the same, but it's still enjoyable for what it is, I guess.
It's time travel, Men in Black, and
Yeah.
also, hey, Men in Black's in 3D, so let's watch.
Oh yeah,
Will
it probably
Smith
was
fall
in
from the
3D.
skyscraper.
Well, yeah, a lot of those effects are very like pushing to look as 3D as possible. So yeah, I probably did see it in 3D.
Yeah, people thought it was so advanced because like 3D, but without red and blue. You know,
What
Oh,
was
was it not with the red? Oh
No,
yeah,
it
No,
'cause it's
Avatar was
changed,
Avatar
yeah.
the first one of the
It
first
wasn't
things
the-
that.
I don't think it was one of the first, but it definitely kickstarted and elevated it. I think was it Clash of the Titans or
Oh, maybe I don't know.
or was that the one? I think that was maybe the first one. Then wasn't there a sequel to Clash of the
Wrath
Titans?
of the Titans.
Wrath of the Titans, and it wasn't meant to be in 3D, but they added the 3D because it was after Avatar.
That's a thing.
Still
now.
wasn't good.
No.
Yeah, that's not usually a good sign.
Mm-mm.
I think was kids what Spy Kids 3 because we were talking about that earlier this week. Was
Oh,
that red
it's-
and blue 3D?
Oh, it totally was red and blue.
Okay, that's yeah.
I remember that. That was, and then, yeah, around that time, Shark Boy and Lava Girl came out, and that was
my
red and blue too. I remember that very
Okay.
well.
So yeah, late 2000s I guess is when they
Was when the
finally
switch
ditched the red and
happened.
blue. Anyways, Men in Black.
Oh yeah,
we're just
Men in
getting
Black.
distracted.
We'll get to it eventually.
So yeah, what are your initial thoughts on International?
It's totally fine. It's not going to recapture what the first Men in Black movie had, and I think it's never going to be able to, just because the first Men in Black had like hit all the right notes just at the right time. Like it had a script that worked well for the two leads that they hired to make it work. They did a lot of
cast.
They did a lot of exactly. They did a lot of really good practical special effects to help make it feel, I don't know, more realistic, more grungy, but yet it still had like a fun 90s action flick flavor to it. Like all the pieces that fell into place worked so well that was just so hard to replicate it again. So I think what Men in Black International tried to do was like, okay, let's take the property of Men in Black, let's make it feel expanded, make it feel bigger just for some world building, and let's, instead of trying to do what was done in the first place, let's at least make it more modern, more current, more of an action
Gotta
blockbuster
kick off
type
this Men in Black
feel.
extended universe.
Yeah, but I don't think that quite works still. It felt, for it trying to feel like a big action blockbuster that's expanding on what was originally created, it just feels so plain. It feels so uninspired. It just feels like it's very, I don't really like saying the term. It feels very corporate because obviously like corporations are helping make this movie, but it really does feel like that. Like there's no real.
Did it bring up a lot of things and then like not really delve into them? Is that kind of the feel?
Not even. It really doesn't bring up anything. It's just a story
look,
that
the
goes
Men in
through the
Black guns
motions.
again.
Yeah. It goes through the motions, and there's no payoff for going through these motions. It's just, let's just do this until we get to the end. Like, it just felt like that, and I think it comes mostly from the writing. Like, the writing doesn't feel inspired from the original at all. It just feels like it's trying to, again, feel corporate. Like, these are the things in order to make
Was it kind of
an
like
action movie for the summer, and it doesn't really try hard to make it feel personable, I guess, to make it feel like it has some sort of heart to it and some type of tone or emotion or authenticity to itself. It just feels so plain.
Is it kind of like a generic buddy cop kind of thing that just happens to take place in the Men in Black universe?
Yeah, it really...
Like, obviously, there's the concept of finding aliens and stuff is a very Men in Black thing, but like...
Yeah,
if what I'm saying makes
really
sense, like you know, take just a generic buddy cop thing, put it in the Men in Black universe. Generic buddy cop thing, put it in this universe, put it in this universe.
Yeah, it really is coming across as that. You're right in asking that question. And there is some life to it, only because Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. I always do that. Tessa Thompson.
Temma Thompson.
Are still good together. They still have the chemistry, but I think it's just because the content that they're given is so not good. It's so not good that they're just having a hard time finding things to really flesh out and be able to work off of one another. Like, their chemistry still works. It's still there, but it's just the content and the writing that helps it not work as well as maybe as their chemistry did in Thor Ragnarok.
Is Tessa Thompson the straight lead, like the straight man, or is it Chris Hemsworth? Because
she is.
She's the straight one.
Yeah,
is he goofy? Is he
because
funny?
he's marketed as like
funny.
the greatest agent of them all, right?
He's the greatest
is that
agent.
Kind
that's
of like
cocky
not true?
And no, that's about it. Yeah.
Does it really like work for Chris Hemsworth's comedic chops, or I feel like they downplay his comedy a little bit, and where Will Smith was like a big personality, is Chris Hemsworth the same?
He was hilarious in Men in Black.
Yeah.
That's actually a very good question, because you're partially right.
Are they both kind of straight man?
No.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth is the goofy, cocky agent, but he's still like the best in the business, and it works to his type of comedy. Like they did that type of comedy that he does, and it still works great. But it feels downplayed because I think he realizes that this isn't a good script.
Yeah.
So normally in the moments where he does have his type of comedy work well in like a Ghostbusters or in a Thor Ragnarok or Avengers, you feel like it should work in this movie, but it doesn't, and that's because it goes back to its writing.
Oh. Because,
it's downplayed because he knows that I'm pretty sure like he knows that it's not a very good script.
In Ghostbusters, that was not a good movie. Like, I didn't actually...
But he was the funniest part.
I thought him and, my favorite, what's her name?
Kristen Wiig?
No.
Melissa
Kate
McCarthy?
McKinnon?
Kate McKinnon.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought Kate McKinnon and him
weird,
were...
but
I loved her. I love Kate McKinnon, though.
well, that movie is all improv, so it's not like Chris Hemsworth had a bad script,
but that's
he
bad.
just didn't have
that's
anything.
Mostly bad improv in that movie. Let's be real.
Oh yeah.
Except for Hemsworth, he's the funniest part.
He was funny. And Kate McKinnon. Let's put her in there. I love her.
She was funny too. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, so I guess I got the impression from the trailer that he was maybe supposed to be the straight one, because I just feel like he would be better.
I actually liked what they did here. I liked that it wasn't a cocky new agent coming in and learning the ropes from the old. I actually liked the switch. It worked fine with me, and especially with Hemsworth's type of comedy and how he personifies himself in most movies nowadays. Like, it works for his strengths, but once again, I think he downplays it because he knows that this isn't a good script.
Yeah.
As a side note, I saw this thing last night on Instagram that he posted, and it was him as Fat Thor but he was singing Johnny Cash and
he was
had
seeing
playing
Johnny
the
Cash
guitar.
is hurt.
Yeah,
That's a funny video. People have to check that out.
He was so depressed in it,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to him seeing something else, and it cuts to him seeing it again, and then he like puts his hand up to the camera, and he's like, "No more, no more." Like he's like dabbing tears.
Did he keep the fat suit?
He's fat
from
Thor in
Endgame?
it. It's so funny.
He might have,
That'd
or
be
he did
great
it on
if he just
set.
kept
I
that
don't
and
know.
like occasionally like, I think today I'm gonna wear my fat suit today.
let's see what it's like to be fat.
Anyways, that's a side note that I wanted to bring up to you guys. I was like, I saw the funniest video of Fat Thor last night.
I do think people will end up. Not everyone will like this movie, but I think those who will come to see it will end up enjoying themselves. I think
It's a pretty harmless movie.
Right.
It's harmless. I think there will be jokes that land. They didn't land for me personally. But I think from the people I was around, like I did see people enjoying the humor in it.
I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. It's just not.
No, it's
a
not
great summer blockbuster, but it's not
We
bad.
haven't really had a
No,
whole
I
lot
wouldn't
of
call
great
this
summer blockbusters.
I know I'm like kind of ripping on it a lot, but it's really not a bad summer movie. Like there's cool
well, that's
special
the reality.
effects.
Most
There's
of these
cool.
things,
There's good chemistry, but it's just
most of these things are
Ho-hum.
fine.
yeah.
It's just people put too much weight in what the number says on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever,
Yeah.
and all that
Right.
comes down to is people who ultimately said it was more good than bad or more bad than good.
I've been hearing a lot more bad
Yeah.
coming out from a lot of people and critics mostly, but I wouldn't by any means call this a bad movie. Like it's plain, it's dry. It's not the most entertaining thing, but I think the majority of audiences, if they do want to come to this, like they'll end up being like, "Oh, that was fun. Glad I."
How's the little
Did
Pawnee
it.
guy?
Yeah.
I didn't like him.
Is he the scene stealer? They seem to think he will
I think
be.
a lot of people are gonna think he's the scene stealer. I didn't, and that's sad because I do like the
that
voice actor.
Kumail.
Kumail.
Yeah, that's Kumail.
Kumail.
We're all saying it differently. I apologize.
Genie.
Yeah, I like that actor a lot, but I didn't think he was a scene stealer by any means. Oh, and Rebecca Ferguson is wasted in this movie.
Oh
my
Rebecca
God,
Ferguson.
that was stupid. That part really made me
Who
mad,
is the
but
standout? If you had to, what's the single best thing about this movie?
Emma Thompson, but only because she's wonderful in everything.
Well, this is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there wasn't.
Okay.
There wasn't anything really stand out
Eric
about
and I were
this.
sad to find out that Emma Thompson and Liam Neeson's characters don't like secretly bone in the background.
But it makes more sense in the Men in Black lore.
I know.
At least what I saw from Men in Black
the
3.
deep, rich
No,
Men
but
in
we-
Black lore.
We wanted them to be like.
yeah, we wanted there to be like this tense, unspoken
They're like,
sexual
sexual-
tension
I'm
between
from
her and
Britain.
Liam Neeson.
Well, I'm from America, and then they
My
just
branch of the
stare.
Men in Black's better.
Yeah, but and
no,
then they
mine
just
is
make
better.
out
And then they.
How are we gonna settle this?
by smooching
Yeah, like men
in black.
in black.
We're the Men in Black. Oh, and then of course there's plenty of the jokes of the Men in Black, the Men in Black, and
Oh,
it's
I
like,
bet.
sure, all right, I mean, it's understandable, but whatever.
Those are such like low hanging fruit jokes
I know.
Oh, yeah.
nowadays.
was-
I feel like
Yeah, a lot of those jokes were very.
wasn't there one of
hanging fruit.
those? There was one of those in Dark Phoenix, right?
Oh God, yeah, but this one, these jokes were better.
Okay.
Oh, so much better.
You
Oh
know,
my God.
I read that they're thinking that it's gonna debut less than Dark Phoenix did.
I won't be shocked.
That's sad.
That is sad because I
What
think it's
is
a better
up with
movie.
these summer blockbusters? Like,
Well,
I mean, I guess Aladdin did fine, but
they're not.
Aladdin was pretty good.
Nothing's original yet.
nothing's like captured. There
No.
hasn't been a thing where
It's
people are
just-
like,
This is now the fourth Men in Black movie, and
yeah,
the Dark Phoenix
what, 20
was
years?
what
Yeah.
the fourth.
like the 12th
Well,
X-Men movie,
but
core
the
X-Men
fourth
movie.
in the
Yeah, it's like
series, and
the 5th or 6th.
then like Dog's Journey was a sequel, and
Oh yeah,
But
audiences know they
it
catch
goes-
on.
But nobody's going to the original stuff.
right,
Which is
barely.
what it's their faults too anyway. Like it's not just a studio's
know.
issue.
Like
It's also
Booksmart.
Pesky
No.
humans.
yeah, it's everyone's to blame. Like I love these on a side tangent here. I love these side conversations that, some podcasts I follow or some movie critics that I follow, and they're like, why can there be more original stuff? Or how come the original stuff isn't thriving but reboots are? Well, because it's both ways too. Like either people just don't go to see the original stuff, and it's not a one-sided
oh no,
issue. Like everyone's to blame.
but I could see where. When you get to the third, fourth, and fifth of something in a series that's not like
Usually
Marvel,
it's even past that.
yeah,
Like,
the third
blank
reboot in
9.
the sequelity.
10.
that there it tracks well because there's a lot of awareness and of the brand and the property and
it's all built
and
in.
the IP, but there's not a lot of interest in it because it's just like, okay, I know what I'm getting on that. Like, it's not like this was a Men in Black that maybe like went off the rails and went to another planet or why hasn't Men in Black gone to another planet yet? Like, I don't get that.
Did they go to another planet in this one?
No.
No, it's all on Earth.
No, it's all on Earth. That actually is a good point, though, because this movie, the past Men in Black movies are about the Men in Black protecting the world from knowing about aliens. By doing so, they protect aliens and giving them, new identities and new ways of living, so that way they can protect aliens and humans.
Wouldn't
but in
it be
this,
a good play
it's not
on the
even
title International.
Yeah.
If they,
the international part was
world.
actually the international part is actually used kind of well in this movie, so I give it credit for that. But they actually strive away from the point of the Men in Black movies into making it just an action movie that stops the alien bad guy. But that's not. I mean, that is like how Men in Black movies go. But there's also that underlying layer of also helping aliens, and they went away from that too, and that was also kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
because they could help aliens
part.
internationally or see how things are done differently internationally than America, and that would have been cool and different and interesting. But
obviously,
they don't do that.
Obviously, we can't be fully against this endless amount of like reboot, sequel things, because if we just forbid all of that, then we wouldn't have some of the genuinely great movies that come out. Like Mission Impossible Fallout is the 6th one,
and they get better each time.
Hobbs and Shaw is going to be amazing.
Again, this is still going back a few years now, but Mad Max is the 4th one, but that came back after a long time, but it was so different. It it's the same universe, but it's like, hey, if we're gonna bring this back, we might as well do something different with it. With this, it just seemed kind of just another Men in Black movie.
It doesn't even feel like another Men in Black movie though. It just feels like another action movie, period.
Yeah.
Like honestly, the director F. Gary Gray, he did Fast and Furious, whichever one it was, before going to this, and honestly, it's shot the same.
Yeah,
like it doesn't look different compared to the last action movie that he made.
I think that's the hard part, is that it's one thing to have IP that people know and understand and you can build off of, but there's not any creativity in building off of it. There's not any risk taking to say, okay, you can take our Men in Black franchise but do something completely different with it.
Yeah, just go crazy.
And not completely different by making one of them female. Let's make it like really different this time. That's why I wanted the love thing with Emma Thompson and Liam.
Go crazy with that.
Liam Neeson.
Have all of a sudden,
I don't know if that's going to be the game changer.
No.
Flip the whole thing on its head. Maybe there's an alien world that has their version of the Men in Black. And
well, what if there's an alien world where humans are there for some reason and they have to be kept hidden so that way they can lead different lives? Humans are looking like aliens around. That would at least be different. I don't know if it'd be good, but at least it would just.
I don't like the habit of suggesting fixes or solutions, but when it's this simple, it's like it's like just do something different. It shouldn't be that hard. Weirdly enough,
it's only a little warranted if you're watching a movie like I did with Men in Black and be like, this feels so plain and there's so many. Like, I can't tell you how many times I look in the background of the movies and be like, I can think of something cool to do right here instead of what they're doing now.
Right.
I mean, sometimes it doesn't have to be that much. Like, just because he's everywhere now. Keanu Reeves, the John Wick movies, on its surface, it's an action movie where a guy kills everybody. But the premise is his puppy's killed, and so he kills everybody. It's this tiny little thing that sounds a little absurd at first, but it's different, and people latched onto it. Mm-hmm.
I also want to say, I'm not trying to rip on the people making this movie. Like, F. Gary Gray is a good director, and obviously people worked hard to try and make this good. But
they always do. The people behind the scene, the creative,
it just
the
doesn't. It just
people.
For me, it didn't feel inspired by any means. It didn't feel inspired by the original Men in Black movie, or it just didn't feel inspired to at least be a different kind of movie.
It's time to dust off this
What
franchise.
property do we have? Okay, Men in Black. Let's.
I'm worried that that's what's going to happen with the new Indiana Jones movie. That it's
I
just
think so.
the last one was so bad that it's like you can't come back from that.
Yeah, but I trust in Spielberg though, and Spielberg did make the last one, but he
He signed off on Lucas's crazy, stupid alien
exactly.
thing.
And he didn't like the idea, but he signed off on it anyway. But I think at least
to get it made.
if this movie does get made, I don't know if it will, but at least Spielberg,
When Harrison Ford's like
it will
110.
be all Spielberg. Well, yeah, when
Maybe,
Harrison
but I
Ford's
mean,
110.
But I don't think Spielberg's that great a storyteller anymore either.
Anymore? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would be lying if I said I loved Ready Player One. I didn't love it.
No,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Like, and that was supposed to be his big grand return to spectacle blockbuster filmmaking.
And he just, I think his time has passed too.
For those types of
you just
movies.
get stale in you get your storytelling style.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't evolve, it gets outdated. And I feel like he's great for making those like epic, real life dramas for older audiences.
Yeah, no, those movies for their target audience, they're
but
great.
I think he's so out of touch now with what younger audiences are looking for, and that's I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like he
may come back with
thing.
a smash, but
Yeah.
Ready Player One was not it.
No, so
you guys make good points on that.
so I worry that Indiana Jones as well. Like I would.
Well,
like,
if it
Right.
gets made, of course they're gonna try to have it get made, but it's been being pushed back for so long.
Yeah. As of right now, it's supposed to come out next year, isn't it? Or is it just supposed to start production next year?
Man, I don't.
Is it even in
remember
production?
now. No, it's not in production.
no. But it was just an example of that.
Yeah.
Franchise that it's good. It just needs to have something be so different and not alien Nazi things different, but like just more. I don't know.
I also think about Men in Black, and when you said alien Nazi things, I was like, what movie was that in? But no, I see what you mean though.
Yeah.
So I do think there will be some people that enjoy this Men in Black movie, but
it just seems
I would
indicative
say
of
it's not really worthy of
the wider
watching.
the wider thing of
Corporate.
just passionless reboots. You know, it's been going on forever now. It's nothing new. It's just unfortunate that yet another one.
It's
turned out like
exactly.
I can't wait
Eric.
to see Shaft, guys. I wanted so badly to go to the early show of that last night.
Well, I mean,
But
nobody really seems to like it that much.
Speaking of reboots, it was just funny.
Well, it's been like 20 years.
So is Men in Black.
For a new,
well, that's not true. But
but it's time for a new Shaft.
You think
apparently
so?
This is not the Shaft people wanted. But I hope you like it.
I can't wait to see it.
I don't know if people are really wanting a Shaft movie. I feel
People
like
don't know what they want until
I feel like
they
that's
see
a
it.
product of its time that is kind of slowly fading away and is not really.
You know what I liked?
I don't want to speak for others
Right.
though. That's just what I've been seeing from the outside in.
I thought, okay, I didn't watch the original Shaft, but I did watch Shaft 2000, Samuel L. Jackson's Shaft version, and I liked that he was tough, that he was like not afraid to just kick your butt and do all that, but he was sort of honorable. Like he really wanted to protect women. He really
He's
wanted
just a larger
to,
than life character. You know,
have
he's a legend.
justice. Yeah, but he was like, but his attitude and stuff overshadowed all that. So there's some good things about the character that I think are timeless and were awesome to see in 2000 and would be even better seeing it today. Because I don't feel like looking at it that I was like, oh, this is so old. Men don't act like this anymore. So I liked some of those parts in the 2000 version. But
I'm glad you're able to see that though. That's pretty cool because I never really thought of that character in any of those ways that you're saying. No,
and I liked watching him shoot all these guys with like these. He still can't run. You know how everybody like.
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, you know how everybody like talks about, oh, you can tell he was an old man when he's DH because he still can't. He can't.
He's running in Captain
He does
Marvel.
not have that athleticism. that
Leave him alone,
gracefulness, especially
so he's
in
not
Shaft.
a fast runner.
And he's all like, in the movie, he's like, I'm gonna kill you for making me run. It's so good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that one.
I do hope you like it.
I feel like it's a reboot, but so much time has gone by, and it's kind of a character that you can make modern very easily. That will feel new.
I'll be curious if that
people
is right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure
it's
people
major
aren't gonna
criticism. Like it's. I mean, the original Shaft is like by far the one people like love the most.
Yeah.
Just at the time, you know, the blaxploitation genre and all of that, there was a lot of cultural significance behind the character and what he did and how he went about doing it. And then Shaft 2000 was just kind of like, oh look, new Shaft.
Yeah.
But then this
Shaft
one apparently
is
is
the
like
new age. I actually don't know if that's what it is.
I don't know. Apparently, just kind of goes against all of the things that he was. Like it's way too funny in a jarring way. Like why is all of a sudden Shaft cracking all these kinds of jokes, things like that. But who knows? I haven't seen it, so maybe you'll like it.
I probably will. I probably will like it.
I do hope the trailers didn't hype you up too much.
Maybe.
I
do get really excited sometimes about properties, and then I go and watch the old ones, and then it gets me even more excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see how they change it.
The writing on the wall is just there for me, and I hope this is a case where it pays off for you.
Yeah. But
it could. I'll see it this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to, and let you guys know.
Please do.
Yeah.
But moving on, how about that Frozen 2 official trailer?
It was
Finally.
so dope.
No, it was good.
It was good. I'm actually serious. I thought that was a really good trailer.
The graphics in it are so beautiful. Like that is taking animation artistry way up. It's just
Well,
the tone and color is so different. It's very much fall.
Obviously, that first
feelings.
teaser, everyone was like, "Whoa, what is this? This is like." Between the music, the way the shots are framed, like
the darkened tone.
Yeah, the implied scale of like this quest. It's like, what is even happening? I don't know.
No
But
dialogue.
this is like epic and like, are they like going to war or something? And then this one comes out and they're doubling down on that feel.
Mm-hmm.
They give us a little bit more. Like they have to travel north, which is
to
pretty
discover
vague
her
fantasy type
powers
thing.
more.
It's like, okay, I'm here for it, but it's just like I have to go back.
Right.
What were the first Frozen's trailers like?
The first teaser was actually Sven and Olaf fight like on a pond.
Yeah,
going
I
after
remember
his
we
nose.
kind of looked up
I
those.
remember that.
I remember I watched that and I'm like, oh, this movie's gonna be so lame. It's about little kid, like it's so childish.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
yeah,
It just
and then it was
contrasts that.
huge.
It's like boom, it becomes the biggest animated thing ever, and then this trailer is like, whoa, what happened? What did I miss?
well, let's go back to the snowman and is he getting his nose?
Yeah,
that
is
was
he still
cute.
in this? Are there gonna be songs? Like I have no idea.
Oh, there's gonna be songs.
Of course, there's gonna be
it's-
songs.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
I have
the type
seen-
of songs I'm imagining after seeing these trailers are like big burly Vikings like stabbing their spears into the ground like the like that Mongolian like death chanting thing you showed us. Obviously they're not Mongolian.
That's
that's the type of music I'm imagining.
There's a
from
story
this.
behind that, but we listened to Mongolian Viking
death metal music.
death metal that one day. at
Traditional
work.
mixed with death metal. Traditional chants.
Mongols. I'm so into this trailer. Like the animation is beautiful, like you were saying, Cody, and I like that. It's going to feel different at least, or at least going to be like a different story. It's not going to be still like taking place at the castle or whatever. It's going to be them on like a quest, like a Lord of the Rings-esque quest.
Seriously,
and
it's crazy.
I find that cool. I think that's cool, especially with it being 5 years later, literally.
Guy,
4 or 5 years.
When you watched it, were you like, don't trust the troll, Grandpa Troll? Because I don't think he made very good decisions in the first movie to like take away the truth of Elsa's powers, because that just isolated Elsa. And he's like, but I left all the fun.
Well,
what about the parents? Wasn't that the parents' fault though?
No, it was his.
That was his decision?
He took away the memories.
Oh, I thought it was the parents' decision.
And the parents just were like, okay, we'll go with this and I'll keep her protected. And it just like was emotional abuse isolation after that point. So.
You think he's going to say north and then they walk off. He's like, oh, shoot, I meant the south.
No,
I'm sure they'll be okay.
I think he is so vague.
Yeah, he's not telling them everything.
No, he could have told them from the beginning in the first movie about.
You can't trust the little cute ones.
If he ends up being the villain, that's going to change so much of the Frozen lore.
I don't think he's a
Guys.
villain.
He probably won't be a villain.
No, I just don't think.
Don't know.
It'll be some weird intangible metaphorical thing that only Elsa's powers, which were originally thought to be horrible and dangerous, can save.
So. I just get frustrated with characters that through their own lack of like honesty or revelation or truthfulness, they cause harm on other people.
That's conflict and drama for you.
Ugh.
Not everybody's pure of heart.
It also tends to be a normal movie trope too. So
I know you got to advance the story somehow.
yeah.
He's not bad. I'm not saying
Not
he's
yet.
the bad guy.
He's just senile.
Yeah. Why are they listening to him?
I don't know.
He's like, what? Oh yeah, go north.
Yeah, just another vague kind
Fight
of.
the
You
big
will
troll.
find your truth north. Well, if you know
Pass
what
that
the truth
big
is, just
troll
tell it right
thing.
now.
He can't tell her. It's only something she can discover for herself.
You
That's
don't
so
think
dumb.
he can't mention like, oh, there's
That's
big
not
trolls.
so dumb. That's
Yeah.
like a big.
Be
It's
like,
like a
okay,
thing.
go north. You will discover this, and there'll be these dangers, and good luck.
You can't just
Truth is
hand
that her
over
powers are
success
good
to
and that they're a
people.
part
Yeah.
of who she is, and she needs to, you can't just tell somebody that. She's got to experience it. It's self-discovery.
I'm not liking the troll guy anymore, but I do like the
He was
rest
in
of the
the
movie.
trailer for like 4
Yeah.
seconds.
I know, and he-
And all
And
of a
Cody's
sudden,
like, I don't like him.
I don't piss me
No.
off.
Senile old man.
Yeah, like why are we listening to this? Why are you doing anything this troll thing says?
Jesus, this little troll
because
thing.
only he knows. I
Yeah.
lost my train of thought. I don't care.
Yeah, not a whole lot more story, but a lot more music and tone. So
Well,
I
at
have
least
noticed that with Disney trailers.
Yeah.
Like they really don't tell you
anything.
anything except for like what the tone is, but I don't really buy that it's going to be like fully dark story. I think there's going to be
no,
dark
I'm sure. I'm
undertones,
sure
but
it won't.
of
but-
course there's going to be Olaf being like, I love walking, like he just sings about whatever. So it's
I
Yeah.
just
He loves
continue to be surprised by
Yeah.
the direction of these trailers.
He likes warm hugs.
hi, I'm Olaf. I like warm hugs. Classic.
So the other trailer we have is the Doctor Sleep trailer,
Yeah.
which I honestly forgot that this movie was happening because it was first announced probably 2 years ago.
Was it that long ago? Holy
we
cow.
saw
seems like it.
It felt like a year ago that I last wrote about it.
we saw some footage at CinemaCon about it. It was a lot more like vague, pieces and a little bit behind the scenes stuff. Because it was really, I think, early in production.
Well, should we?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I was just gonna say, should we explain Doctor Sleep? What
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah, it's
real
basic
quick?
premise. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's the sequel to The Shining.
yeah,
That's what it is. Danny Torrance is all grown up. He's an alcoholic. Stephen King likes alcoholics. He's an alcoholic now,
Wasn't
suffering.
he an alcoholic?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's why.
You write what you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's grown up now. He has PTSD from probably his dad trying to chop him up with an axe.
The
and
events of The
all
Shining.
of the things that came with the actual Shining ability, power, whatever you want to call it. And that's really all we know. There
Yeah.
seems to be there
It
seems to be a
teases-
new little girl who may have those same abilities.
I thought the part where he said in the trailer he's met others like her, but they've all died,
Yeah.
is really sad. Like, because it was
Yeah.
a little showing a little
all the people
girl
that he
getting
can relate
killed.
to and that he can have a chance of a companion, they just die.
The shining ability takes him out. So it's a miracle he survived into adulthood.
Yeah. I don't know. The biggest thing to me about this trailer was just how confident the whole thing seemed. Like just from like the music and the very explicitly saying that this is the continuation of The Shining, which is probably one of the most like cherished horror films of all time.
Did you get the feeling that they were trying to make it like, oh, The Shining was this kind of artistic vibe, and we're going to try to recreate that?
Kind of. That's what I mean by how confident it seemed. Like
Yeah.
some of the shots they showed in the trailers were very like out there and creative, and combined with the music that you wouldn't necessarily expect at first to accompany this sort of subject matter.
But at least it wasn't trying to, trying to feel like that it was the look of The Shining again.
Right.
Like it
I mean, they
does
did
feel,
remake some of those sets and like reshoot it.
Oh, did they actually? I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if it was just cut from the original or not.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I'm sure the little
Wow,
baby.
that's pretty
I'm
impressive
sure little
then.
baby Danny on his big wheel was probably from the movie, but like this,
Oh, okay.
but like the shot of room 237 opening up, that was redone. The blood and the coming out of the elevator, yeah, those are all reenacted.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Because it almost looked like it did look like the original to me.
But yeah, to me, I guess because
yeah.
the book came out in 2014, and it wasn't a huge deal. Most people didn't even realize it was a sequel to The Shining, and then so I thought that this movie was just gonna kind of do its own thing, and then like, yeah, technically this is that kid from The Shining. Yeah, this is about him. But this whole trailer's like it basically is like The Shining 2.
I liked how there's more special effects. The power of whatever he calls The Shining is very explicitly stated. It's not a cerebral, like, could this be? Is it just in their minds? Like, no, this is like very stated. There is a veil between us and the next world, and that veil is not always like good.
Yeah.
And some people can see beyond it. And I like the clarity in that a little bit more, because now you know what you're getting. It's not trying to be like how The Shining came off, where it's like there are these really ghosts.
Yeah, if you're going to try and emulate Stanley Kubrick, then everyone's going to notice right away and they're going to hate you.
Yeah.
So
I just hope The Shining doesn't become like a superpower, quote unquote, you know, and
you're going to have a shine off.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want it to be that. Like
No.
That will make me really worried if it comes down to that. I hope it's something a bit more obscure than that.
No, I haven't read the book, so I'm not familiar with the story. I don't even know how the book was received.
I'm only a fan of the movie.
I don't know how the book was received, so I don't know if the Dr. Sleep story as a whole is considered a good continuation or not. But I forget this director's name, but he did the Gerald's Game Netflix movie adaptation, and that was also a Stephen King story, and people really seem to like that. So he seems to have a good handle on how to...
Mike Flanagan's the director.
Mike Flanagan, okay. He seems to have a good handle on how to present these Stephen King stories.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And who knows, maybe this isn't even the same as the book, because the original Shining, it wasn't like the book at all. So maybe they just decide, hey, take a few things from the book too, but let's just make it our own and still tie it into the movie.
It's all very exciting. I love Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. I think his
he's
casting
good in everything.
Elevates it quite a bit.
It did for me, that's for sure, because I remember hearing that they were wanting to make this, I was like, all right, I guess. I don't really see a need to. But then I heard Ewan McGregor's name, and then Rebecca Ferguson's name too. But Ewan's came up, and I was like, oh, that was
one of the creepiest parts of the trailer to me. It's like Rebecca Ferguson. There's like that little girl really that they like carry into the woods, and then all those people around look like they start tearing her
I think
apart
she's like a
cult
leader. I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Ripping the little girl up, limb by limb or something.
I thought they were gonna take her to the stream and drown her.
They look like some weird pagan sacrifice midsummer type thing.
Yeah. No, they look great. And they better not waste Rebecca like they did in Men in Black. Still stupid. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah. Cool trailer.
And then the last thing is that there was an article about how Amazon wants to release, what's the film?
The Report.
The Report, similar to how Netflix released Roma, with a theatrical
bare
minimum theatrical window to qualify for any awards season contenders, and then go straight to streaming after like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so basically the movie...
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I keep interrupting people today. I apologize.
I'm doing the same thing. The movie The Report stars Adam Driver, and it's a true story. It's about... I forget his real life name, but he's leading the investigation into the CIA's, quote, highly effective interrogation techniques or something. And surprise, surprise, they turn out to be...
torture?
Yeah.
To put it lightly.
And it's about his efforts to bring that to the public attention, and then the CIA and the government trying to keep it buried.
Yeah.
So the movie, by all accounts, was really well received at Sundance, I think.
Yeah, the majority majority of it was well praised.
Yeah, Adam Driver was supposed to be great in it. So the movie itself isn't necessarily the most important or the most interesting part about this. It's just this growing trend of streaming services doing their bare minimum theatrical thing just so they can get into the awards game.
And it's interesting coming from Amazon, because up until this point, Amazon had pretty much had a distribution team and had done like regular theatrical runs of films. They were all about, no, we're going to do this right. We're going to do regular theatrical. So it makes me wonder if, one, they paid too much for this film at Sundance, or if they never had really the intention of a theatrical run with it, and this was really to bolster streaming.
Do you think maybe they saw the Roma strategy and they're like, hey, that's a...
I don't know if they saw the Roma strategy. Who knows? Maybe in purchasing this, they were required to do a theatrical run, but that was never their motive. Yeah. You just never know what the back end, behind the scenes deals are like for this. But I find it interesting that they're going to do it in September and not at Christmas, when you get the most bang for your buck for that awards stuff. So, we'll see how it goes, but I feel like they're cheapening this idea of a theatrical run. It means nothing other than we might be able to publicize an awards potential down the road and maybe get a bump in streaming viewership then.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Your turn.
Your turn. Don't interrupt.
The report is coming from Deadline, and in that report, the head of Amazon Studios just came out and said that for the report, they're trying to find a way to get the most eyes on this as possible, and that's why they're going with this model.
I hate when they say that because
I do
Netflix
too.
said that too. Like, people wouldn't have watched this movie in a theater. They wouldn't like Roma, but so we'll put it on streaming. But you don't know who's watching. Are you getting that many eyeballs
either way,
on it?
Sure.
Because they don't release streaming data, so that just is such an empty,
they can technically
hollow.
say, because I'm sure when they say that, they mean like, well, we have this many hundreds of millions of subscribers,
and they could all watch
they
it.
potentially could see it, but it's like they're conveniently leaving out the fact that releasing a movie on a streaming service is just like throwing in this huge pile and asking people to sift through, and hopefully they find it.
And hopefully their algorithm brings it up on their screen.
It makes sense to an extent because of its subject matter. I think its subject matter is a bit touchy to where people probably don't want to spend the money
Right.
To go out and see it in theaters. But I do agree that either way, it's still not going to be attracting like the most amount of eyes they probably want regardless. But since this is going to be released very, very limited in September, that's a pretty good month to at least like try and throw something out there to see if it sticks. And the report, it wouldn't get like the most amount of eyes, but it's at least a dry month to where I feel like they should at least try a somewhat wider limited run than just like the 2 theaters that's going to play at as their plan.
Right. I'm just still torn. It means less content for theaters.
I'm
basically
there with you.
Foremost. And yet this content wasn't maybe the best fit for theaters, although you are taking something that was pretty well received at a well-known film festival, and in the right hands maybe could have been more. But I think you're right. It's not going to play in conservative areas in the country. So there's just so much that goes into the idea of putting it in theaters and making sure that that is the best fit to fill butts and seats. So I don't want to fault them for putting it on streaming, and I don't hate streaming. I just hate the idea that these streaming sites are using theaters and then taking away from theaters to the detriment of the theaters.
They're
kind of
working with
exploiting
theaters,
it.
but then taking away from them at the same time, like not using them to the full benefit.
Like Netflix and Amazon were never really creating product for theaters. They weren't a staple in the market. They weren't something traditionally theaters relied on in the past. So I don't mind them giving these films like this chances on streaming so people can see it. I think what bothers me the most is that they're giving a roadmap and a blueprint for then the Disneys and the Warner Brothers and the Universals, who were the main suppliers of film to theaters, giving them like, this is what happens when you bypass the theater network. And I don't want, and that's what bothers me the most. It's when Disney, Universal, and Warner starts doing it that we have issues.
It's also strange that Amazon wants to use this method for a awards push, but they're wanting to start off by having it in theaters in September and then putting it on streaming in early October.
By the end of October, it's gonna be so
yeah,
buried.
like that's not. I mean, it works for some movies, like A Star Is Born. Like it worked to having it early in October, but it was dying as like award season was getting closer. It really was not getting the awards that a lot of people were thinking it would. So
timing is such a key thing. You gotta
I don't
time
see
it so that the peak interest coincides with the actual awards thing. Like even if it's an amazing movie and it's super well received, like A Star Is Born, it peaks and then it's already burning out and something else is coming up.
Yeah, and
by the time it really matters.
And this one is definitely going to be a much smaller movie than A Star Is Born is, regardless of it being on streaming or not. So I don't see the understanding of them.
I think they say that is their intention. Oh, we want to qualify, and I think that qualification is purely for marketing purposes. It is just so they can throw some money at it down the road and be like, oh, we're trying to get an Academy Award, or we're trying to get a Golden Globe.
Sure.
And maybe if they do succeed in getting one, like as long shot as that might be, then they can just tout that, and that's a
like,
way.
Yeah, we always
to
believed
sell
in
it.
this.
Yeah.
This was our plan from the beginning.
Right.
It's like, no,
No,
it wasn't.
that's not your real plan.
Yeah,
So shady.
it's unfortunate because I do like Amazon Studios and how they go about pushing the
too.
movie to theaters before, and we've talked about this before too.
Regular theatrical windows with an actual distribution
And
too.
then releasing it on streaming right away after that.
Yeah.
And I hope they change their minds about this, but that's probably going to be unlikely that they do. Because I would like to see this story in the theater, but
just makes me wonder
guess
now
not.
that the streaming market is so overstuffed already, and it's only going to get even more overstuffed, and it's only a matter of time before every streaming service is making their token awards season movie, and then they're probably going to do a release strategy similar to this. You know, it's what if the time comes where like we have an Academy Awards where like more than half of the movies are these little streaming things that had a bare minimum this type of release model. You know, it's just, I don't know.
That'd be interesting to see. I think my gut reaction is it devalues the awards.
Yeah.
But, you know, the awards are for the creative community. They're not for the exhibition community.
Yeah.
And so looking at it from the exhibition side, it you know.
It just sucks because they're so, you know, they're
But they-
one and the same
Yeah.
when it comes to making the thing.
Right.
But
You make it, I show it. We're a team on this, but
yeah, one can't really succeed without the other.
streaming is putting a wedge into that dynamic so much. It's saying you make it, I'll show it. It's becoming that other partner, and it's not only like you make it, but I'll make sure you make lots of them, and they don't have to be good. I just need volume from you. And as a creative, that's what you want. You want to make sure you have job after job after job. So this is great for their community because they're getting a lot of work. But it's just where is it going?
Forgetting about the people who made them what they are.
I mean, I'm thinking more of like crew, like grips and cameramen, and
Oh yeah.
you know, they're getting steady work.
yeah.
And it's growing that side. So we'll see. And it's having an impact. You know, Ava DuVernay went to Netflix, and her
She's
last
killing it
latest film got
Well, when they see us.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
doing
I still need-
all kinds of great business.
I still need to see her miniseries. I've heard good things.
But yeah. It all just comes back to just this foggy, weird, uncertain future.
It's weird because she's doing so great with Netflix and making such a cultural impact, but I don't feel like she would have that same impact in theaters. Like, I don't know if she can make movies for theaters.
Well, Selma, by all
it's
accounts,
weird.
people loved Selma, and it was like
Yeah.
one of her best things ever, but I'm pretty sure it bombed.
It bombed.
Yeah, it bombed
And then
bad.
she was given all that power to do that Disney
A Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time, and it was
God.
so terrible.
That was bad.
I think she could do well in theaters, but it just has to be the subject matter. Like, I think if she did get hired to do Black Panther, and because she's so culturally and politically aware of the world, like she would have been able to infuse that into Black Panther, and that it wouldn't have done the same business probably, but it would have at least have been a strong movie for her. And she does well with all of her other
I think at this point,
political
because
stuff too. I just think it's a matter of the type of movie that it is.
I think at this point she's just having so much success, since she is on the creative side, so much success doing it this way that it's like, you know, why go back?
Right. I don't think she
After
will.
A Wrinkle in Time, why
But-
would I want to do
But
that
at the
again?
same time, I don't think she deserves Academy Awards or I don't think she deserves exhibition awards for her work. She deserves all the accolades she gets. She's making an impact in the community. She's getting like voices out on things that haven't, you know, been pushed to the wayside. I think she deserves all of that praise and all of those accolades. I don't think she deserves exhibition awards for it.
Yeah.
I think she might be okay with that.
No, she was the one that fought against Spielberg's idea to make the qualifying window longer,
Right.
more stringent. She was like, no. And I feel like that is so disingenuous. Like, you go do your own thing. Just, it's not movies. It's TV though. It's this other media. So don't expect.
It's just streaming.
Yeah. And that,
I feel like eventually people are just gonna be like, why are we trying to debate whether streaming is movies or TV? I feel like
Right.
streaming is streaming. Like,
it'll be its own thing.
yeah, it is. People watch it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the the length that's for so long is what people use to define that, a movie is 90 minutes, a TV show is 20 to 40 minutes. Streaming can be anything.
Did we have a podcast like that once? We talked about trying to decipher what technically is a movie these days.
Right. We figured that, like streaming is closer to TV and should have more of the television awards.
It's viewing habits.
It's viewing habits, how you view it, how you consume it, and the length of it.
Binge watching puts a wrench in that, because you could say binge watching makes it more like film, because you sit down and you watch an 8-hour movie, but you don't watch the whole series in one sitting.
And you can't pause.
Says you. I'm
kidding. I mean, I basically watched Chernobyl in one sitting, but
oof, wow. You must have felt good after that.
I was so pissed. In the best way.
I still need to watch it.
But yeah, I don't know. So I feel like streaming eventually is it's its own thing.
I just feel like there's not an awards equivalent for the streaming stuff, or there's not this accolades vehicle equivalent for it. So they're still trying to suck all of the prestige and stuff from the film side, but you're not making movies. You're not showing them at theaters. This is a completely different viewing experience. We don't give Tony Awards to movies. We give Tony Awards to plays, to Broadway, to theater. I think they just need someone somewhere needs to figure out its own award system for that and make it separate.
I wonder how much of it's still just because people feel a certain stigma to not being considered a movie and being considered TV instead of a movie.
Right.
So maybe part of it, they're like, no, I made a movie. It's like, I'm not saying what you made is any less good.
Right.
But it's
not a
more
movie.
like this than this.
Yes.
So I get that. That's why I think streaming should just be like, we're just going to make our own thing. All the streamies.
I think they were originally trying to, but then they were like, wait a minute, what if we won awards? I mean, after they realized like television shows that they have can win awards, so they're like, well, let's try that with movies. And now it's caused this problem that we're having.
Right.
Or a problem,
it's
or
so fascinating.
Even internet shows have their own awards, Webbies. So why can't somebody somewhere create a trade organization for streamers, create an awards, and make it an industry, make it its own thing, but quit trying to siphon all of the good, like all of the history and everything built into the movies, because you're not, and movies are for theaters.
But it's funny though. I've never thought of any of these award ceremonies as like recognizing that the movies are made for theaters and that theaters are relying on these type of movies. It's just like you were saying, it's all just for the creatives mostly, not for the business end of it. So I think that's part of the problem too. Like it's just forgetting like how you're able to see these movies in the first place, and more just being like, look at this art that we made, and it's like, hey, but remember where you saw it.
Right.
Like,
remember what the art was for.
It's as good as it is because you saw it on the best possible way to view it. So, and that's a bummer.
We always come back to this whole streaming thing. It's not going anywhere.
We've had these conversations so many times. Just go look back on our past
They're always
podcasts.
worth having, because all of these new things are...
Technology is changing and
it's
creating
happening
these
in real
existential
time.
questions of what this industry actually is, and you as a consumer, what your behavior actually means. And it comes down to a lot of questions on a lot of different levels.
I revel in the chaos.
I don't.
You should.
It's
exciting.
I thought this war died down at least until award season happened, but now
gosh dang it, Amazon.
It came back early.
Oh yeah. We're halfway through the year. We're already back in it pretty much.
God.
It's never really going to go away, but I feel like the conversations, you never hear the conversations like what we're having right now in these moments and these points. You never hear those in the media or in the trades, or
because they think more about creative.
You hear Steven Spielberg hates TV movies,
right?
And then you hear
he hates art and how it's
and
it's like, well,
he wants to make it so only big studios qualify for awards.
It's a very nuanced, complicated thing.
Yeah, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the awards not thinking about like the theater end of it all. They're these people. That you're saying, Cody, they're thinking more about the creative side of it, but they're not thinking about and they're thinking of the business side of it because Hollywood, but they're not thinking about like the other end of that, to where it's like, no, the theaters help out Hollywood too.
Yeah, And it's just, and they are such a ingrained fabric in American culture that that should be celebrated too. I mean, streaming doesn't bring people together. Like, yeah, Ava DuVernay's getting a lot.
Brings
of
people
traction.
together on Twitter for better or worse.
Yeah, with her mini
For worse.
series, but it's just such a vacuumed group of people too, and I just like the general audience, like event type thing, like how everybody felt when they went and saw Avengers Endgame this year, and how we're still talking about, like today I brought up, we have on silverscreeninsider.com on the announcements box is about advance tickets for Spider-Man, and you see Spider-Man's cool suit with like the web things on the side, like he's gliding, and I just think, like, who's gonna make Spider-Man suits now that
that's probably what
Tony
everyone's thinking.
Stark's
Like,
gone?
oh,
Like, where's the tech
our
coming
Tony
from?
is gone. How is this whole thing gonna move forward? Everybody's feeling that together because they were all there.
Because they were all
We
there.
were there.
And it's just part of like life that I think about. I like that part. But you guys didn't. I think it's Shuri. I think Shuri and T'Challa
It's
are
Nick
going
Fury.
to.
Nick Fury's in the
No.
movie.
Nick Fury.
He's calling Peter to give him
Nick
a suit.
Fury's not
I
creating
think
the
it's
new
happy.
tech.
Well,
That's
okay,
what I'm talking
Shield.
about.
It's Shield, but Nick
And
Fury
S.H.I.E.L.D.
delivers
Wasn't Shield
it.
evil?
Shield was Hydra. That's all kind of gone now.
Yeah, but they're kind of back.
Happy
Age of
Hogan just needs
Ultron.
to
They have
everything.
the helicarrier up again, and then they're kind of. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know how it's.
by the way, guys, apparently they were going to give closure to the Hulk Black Widow romance in Endgame or Infinity War when he comes back, but they didn't. So they filmed scenes for this closure, and then they're like, "Oh, it just kind of clipped out of the movie because of the pacing and stuff."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Our movie's already 3 hours long.
I'm like,
Do
why?
we really need to finish this off?
Why was that ever a thing? That
yeah,
was
people
like
weren't
the
really
dumbest...
too crazy about this to begin with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they made fun of it really well in Thor Ragnarok a bunch of times too. So at that point, I think people were like, "We'll just skip past it. It's been a couple of years. It's fine."
A dumb, out of character, like thing that was wedged in there. Like somebody had this.
Yeah.
Really.
But now it's just become another part of the whole universe that people like to
The good and the
enjoy
bad,
hating on.
You
Right.
know? Yeah.
It's
But
just
I
part
thought
of
it was interesting that they
Gives
were like,
us some
okay,
character.
this is going to be the
It's not
end.
perfect.
What are all the
Yeah,
loose
people
ends
like
we
some
should
flaws.
tie up? And that was apparently something to consider enough that they had to make scenes for it.
And I was like, nah.
At least it wasn't in the movie. Like I'm sure it was
but-
a fine deleted scene if
Yeah.
it's on the DVD or whatever.
Hulk
the
throws a
DVD on the
bench, and that's
Blu-ray.
all we need.
Do they even do that anymore? I haven't bought a Blu-ray in forever.
I actually
Do they still do it?
I think they do
Deleted
actually.
scenes.
Oh yeah.
Is
I
that
think they
still
do.
a big thing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm like you. I haven't bought a Blu-ray in
have
a while.
purchased hundreds of Blu-rays, but I have never once sat down and watched the deleted scenes on any of them.
Really?
Well, a lot of them,
I never.
from past experiences, a lot of them can be pretty rough. Like there's a reason.
Yeah,
why they're
there's a
deleted.
very clear reason why they're deleted scenes.
I
In 99% of the cases.
for a long time I bought a lot of, in my early 20s I bought a lot of Blu-rays, DVDs, and then I realized that I had like so many, like just probably hundreds, and then I was like, why do I have this many? I don't actually go back and watch these very much. So then I
Yeah.
had a rule, unless I knew I was going to watch it 5 times or more, I didn't buy one. So then my purchasing of them really like tapered off, and now I find it so cumbersome to go and try to hook up the Blu-ray player and like find the one I want and skip
Watch
all
it
the
in your
stuff.
Xbox.
So now I just stream. I love just streaming it.
If that's a movie I'm excited to see or excited to rewatch for the first time, I'm not taking any chances. If I'm watching something and I see that resolution dip for a second, I'm TO'd.
I just don't like sit down and watch movies at home anymore. I find that if I have 2 hours, I go now. My kids
no,
are at
that's
an
fine.
age where they can stay home with dad and he can handle it on his own, or
That's
somebody,
fair.
and I go, and I just love going to the movie so much more now. Like,
Yeah.
the pleasure of watching movies at home isn't the same for me anymore.
I mean, me
love
too.
getting
Like
out.
I've said, it's hard to enjoy something as much at home, at least for me.
It is.
Even if I don't have my phone, I turn off all the lights, put my phone away, whatever, which I do anyways.
That's why you
but,
never text me back.
but sometimes it's
Now there's
just not the same.
Right. But I do discover new things. Like I watched Shaft 2000 at home, but I had to watch it over 2 days. Like
no, I mean like things I've seen in the theater, when I watch them again at home, almost inevitably is going to be kind of like, yeah, that was still pretty good.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I didn't, so I just have the memory of seeing it in the theater to go back to, but
yeah. Shaft 2000. I wonder what the next movie. I just get really excited, and now I'm like, oh well. I get into books and I get into other media, video games and stuff, and I feel like if I really want a story, I get into my video games much more than a movie. I feel like movies for me are about going out of the house and shutting off the world and stuff. But if I just need a little bit of entertainment, I go for my books and video games.
That's fair.
I feel like that's so conducive to what modern media consumption is like now. You have so many options. So
many stories.
I don't need the hundreds of DVDs and be like, ooh, what am I going to consume? What do I want to feel right now?
Yeah.
I like that. But I totally get it. I totally get it. Maybe I'm just stubborn.
Oh, for sure.
Well, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we wrapped up everything we needed to talk about.
So who do you think will be number one this weekend? I always like to do our predictions at the end of the podcast.
Probably Men in Black. I would say it's...
Yeah.
Is it going to be a weekend?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
A week,
I mean, between
weekend.
Father's Day and two properties that aren't really looking like they're gaining much attention
dads
right
aren't
now.
really going to want to see that. Maybe Shaft.
Well, you might have a theater to yourself then.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm going to the cabin this weekend. I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to see it. It would be Sunday, and then I'd have to be like, okay, honey, can you stay home on Father's Day with the children while I go to the Shaft movie by myself?
Do we think The Secret Life of Pets 2 is going to have a really big nosedive in its second weekend? Because I wonder if it's going to somehow manage to stay above Men in Black.
I don't think it'll stay above. I think Men in Black will take number one, probably not by much.
Yeah.
Okay.
But...
Okay. That was just my one thing. But yeah, probably then Men in Black.
If it's not number one, it could be Pets holding up.
I think so.
I predicted Men in Black would be one.
That's
but
right,
not for long. I'm pretty sure Pets will last way longer.
What's coming out next weekend? Toy Story. That'll decimate everything.
It's getting terrific reviews.
Oh yeah. Well,
like way more than I anticipated.
I don't know if they could have tanked a Toy Story movie. Like
4 home runs in a row.
Toy Story 3
doesn't really ever happen
very well.
Right.
And Toy Story 4 could have just been written off.
I want to tell the audience, guess what I'm doing next week for Toy Story?
What are you doing?
Are you going to watch it?
What am I doing? I am going to... One of our clients is having an early show premiere of Toy Story with a special guest.
Who
is it, Cody?
Tim Allen is going to
Buzz
support
Lightyear himself.
Buzz Lightyear himself. He's going to go support a local community theater. It's like going to be the most amazing thing. All the tickets are all sold out, and everybody's encouraged to donate because it is a community-run theater. And I just can't wait to. So I won't be around for podcasting next week, but when I get back, I can't wait to talk about the experience of, these celebrities and stuff, being able to help out the community theaters. Yeah. And I get to go be a part of that. I get to go see clients that I've never met, but that I talk with every week. And so I'm so excited to go do this. And I feel like this is, just adds so much to like movie going and what small town theaters really need to do to capitalize on that community feeling. So
yeah, that's so cool.
I'll let you guys know how that goes next week.
I'm so jealous you get to see Tim Allen.
Yeah,
that would be so
in Michigan. I don't know why that makes it cool. Even better. But
well, he's from Michigan, right?
Like
that's
authentic
his,
Tim Allen. It's not going to be LA Tim Allen.
Home state.
Yeah,
he's going to be at his most down to earth. It's himself. He's home.
I hope so.
That'll be so cool. I can't wait
excited.
I hope there's an interview of him for the audience to have, and he just talks about whatever.
See if I'll be able to pull that off.
See if you can go out for drinks with him afterwards.
That'd be amazing. Now I'm just fantasizing.
But you're going to be interviewing the people who run that theater, right?
Correct. I'm going to be interviewing the people that run the theater and just talking about how this premiere came to be, how they got in contact with a celebrity or talent in their local area and how they were able to coordinate with that. And I'm just very excited about this process and being able to share it with everybody and put it on SSI, silverscreeninsider.com, so that other theaters maybe who like have always thought about doing this could maybe get some tips and tricks, because I'm sure there's a
Give
lot
them
of
that push to do.
Yeah, you got to know where
do
to
something.
start.
I'm sure there's a lot of community theaters that have a local celebrity. It doesn't have to be somebody as big as Tim Allen, but somebody local in your community that people that wouldn't mind willing to help out the theater that have that.
Like Bill Paxton. I think it was Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
For Ballad of Lefty Brown.
Yeah,
Small little movie, but Bill
Yeah.
Paxton, it's a
He
small
went around
independent
Montana
theater.
showing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he supported it, and then you got that interest and intrigue at the theater, and I feel like this is such a good thing for theaters if they are able to have the opportunity and figure out how to manage it, because it took a lot of work for this to happen for this theater. It took a lot of phone calls, a lot of
Pullman. I thought you said
arranging
Pullman earlier.
between the studio,
Oh, Bill-
It was
between
Bill Pullman. It's Bill Pullman.
Paxton's dead.
Yeah, for some reason, I thought you said Pullman for a second.
So we'll
Well,
let
that'll
you
be
guys
fun.
know how that goes, but that is next week. I'm going to be gone Wednesday through Saturday.
I do
and
suggest maybe watch one of the Toy Story movies.
I've seen them, guys.
Oh,
It's
wait,
not
I
like
keep
I've
thinking
not
you haven't seen
Toy
them.
Story. I just don't love.
Go up
Yeah.
to Tim Allen and be like, I don't like your movies. I don't like Toy
And it-
Story. I hate the
But
characters.
it's so funny. It's
hate
I keep
Woody?
thinking you haven't seen them
it's
for some
Woody
reason.
that I don't like. I like Buzz.
Yeah, screw. I
Woody's
think if
too-
you said that to Tim,
Woody's
he'd
too
be like,
good.
"Thank you."
He's too good. He reminds us how much bad people we are.
I'm sorry. For some reason, I always keep thinking
Right.
you haven't seen them, but you have.
No, I have.
Yeah.
Watch it again.
Watch
Yeah.
again. Like it this time. Okay.
I did.
But that is really awesome that you get to do that.
Yeah, no, I did see the first 10 minutes of this at CinemaCon, so it is very much, so far from what I see in the first 10 minutes, it's very much a Woody story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be like, but I always liked Buzz. He was always true to himself, and it was
Yeah.
hard for him
I liked
to...
Buzz as a kid just because I like
Yeah.
everything space.
Oh,
So I get it.
so yeah, I'm very excited for this, guys. I won't be there next week, though, to find out. So if I do see Shaft, you'll have to just wait on my...
We'll be waiting eagerly.
be waiting eagerly for what I think of Shaft. So yeah, we won't be there next week. So you'll just get the two gentlemen here at the
We'll
table.
come up with a
Yeah,
fun
we'll
show.
figure out something.
Oh, it'll be a great time. I love it.
And then after that, it's on, guys.
Cool.
I
right.
can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, call your dads, tell them you love them.
Yep. Father's Day
Yes.
weekend.
Happy
Take them to a
Sunday.
movie.
Don't forget, take them to see Shaft, take them to see Men in Black International
wants
if that's
to.
their thing.
Take them to see Booksmart or Detective Pikachu.
Just treat them to something.
To a movie.
Grill,
Detective
grill
Pikachu
some
would
meats.
be a good dad movie,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, it would.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
nice.
yeah. I like. Okay, yep, I was right.
Detective Pikachu is still in the theater. Go see that one. That's a
Man,
good.
that should have been played. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have. So
Have a good weekend, guys. Take
Until
care.
next time.
happy fun.